Hello everyone, this is Slab and welcome to another tutorial based on Exode, the space colonization game. Now, this topic for today's video is all about preparing your cards for actually playing the game. And what we're going to talk about is the setup before the evacuation step of the game. Now, in order to actually start doing any of this, you need to go to the menu and launch a new game. This will open up a new window with some basic tutorial, really basic tutorial. And once you have that out of the way, you basically are free to compose your deck. The first step, and probably the most important one, is to select an origin. Now, this is basically the leader of the deck, and it will unlock, generally speaking, the faction that you're going to be able to use cards from. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to go with the Arc Scientist. This is a origin card that unlocks scientific faction, and obviously is very science themed and based. This is part of the science starter pack and also one of the 3 basic starters that you can purchase in a bundle. Now, once you have the origin locked, next step is to select your starship. Now, the starships, as most cards, have also a faction association, so unless something is, at this specific instance, scientific or versatile, you will not be able to select that ship. Now, I'm going to go with the ever so famous Baldy shuttle for the purposes of this demonstration. The fields that you need to select cards for next automatically populate based on your current selections. So, for the moment, let us select our equipment set. This is going to be some, I don't know, eyes and suits. And we shall start with selecting our officers. Every card that I select needs to be either versatile, which means it can work with any origin, or it needs to have the scientific faction associated with it. Otherwise, it is not going to be selectable. I'm going to quickly go through some of the more thematic options. We're going to add Elisa, our research officer, and our exploration officer as our crew member, as our officers. And for crew, we would like a Xeno analyst and a lab scientist, for example. Now, once you have the basics down, which is what sort of faction you'll be playing, the ship you'll be using, and your equipment, officers, and crew members, you need to click the center button here and you will be switched to cargo. There you can load up your passengers. So I'd like some science students just to keep everything thematic, and a genius, why not? And based on the ship you selected, you will also be able to do all the different cargo slots that the ship supports. So don't take my advice for it, but I'll just take some basic dump cards based around exploration and survival. And once you select and fill up all of your cargo slots, the last thing to do on the basics is to choose your escorts. Escorts will be those ships which will come to your aid during the initial evacuation phase of your new game. Those will buy you valuable time in order to load up your ship with fuel, gather up any additional passengers and cargo, and basically increase your survival chances until you can upgrade your hyperdrive and get the hell out of Dodge, as this is what basically the evacuation scenario urges you to do. Now, before we go, I would just hint at a small detail that not all people still grasp, and this is how to equip the various cards that you have selected with additional items or, I guess, things that you can put on them. For example, you can equip your ship with software, for example, rim scan software. And for some reason, I can equip the Eisen suits, but don't really have anything compatible because those are just suits. But at the same time, I can equip weapons on my officers and make them more likely to survive, get them some exploration gear, research suits, etc. This way you can basically equip every card that you select with additional things that are not specifically bound to them, but they will be able to use during evacuation. And if you really like to save or maybe have a look at your deck at a later point in time, at the bottom part of the screen, you'll be able to see the save deck, import deck functions, as well as the development version at the moment. So this is going to be slab stamp deck, and now once the deck is saved, for example, I can import this, or I can import any of my previously saved decks, or alternatively the game automatically saves your last attempted evacuation so that you can quickly make a few changes without needing to save your deck and try a new strategy. This is how an exported deck looks like, and you'll be able to quickly reference or theory craft any deck that you can muster the cards for. This concludes our short tutorial. Thank you very much for your time. Slab signing out.